Hello everyone, welcome back to Slides to Coasters YouTube channel. I am of course your host, Brad the Water Parker. Uh, and of course guys, as you guys can see from the title of the show, this is one of our Slides to Coasters mini-sodes, I'm starting to call them. These are basically shows that I cannot do in a full podcast format. So we're going to condense them into a smaller show. This kind of is a part of the news, kind of isn't. It's more of a speculation show. But today we're going to be talking about Dollywood, more explicitly Lightning Rod. And this is because recently there was a sign put out that basically stated that Lightning Rod will be down for the rest of the season to get some work done by RMC. And that lightning will strike twice. Now, I kind of want to break this down a little bit for you guys and really delve deep into what exactly could this be. But first, we're going to talk a bit about what might be part of the problems. We're going to speculate what might be the issue. And that's going to kind of drive us into my hypothesis on what they might be doing in the future with this attraction. So let's start it off. Number one, we're going to talk about the trains. We're going to talk about the track itself. And then we're going to round out with the launch, because everything seems to stem around the launch, in my opinion. The way that everything looks, the way that, it goes down so often, I don't think it's because of the brakes. I don't think it's because of the station. I don't think it's because of the cars. I think it's because of the launch. So let's have a little bit of discussion on that, right? So, the cars. Originally, the original coaster had a back car that had a little bit of a caboose, a little bit of a trunk, and wheels added onto it. Over the past few years, that wheel's been taken off. On top of the fact that, the coaster itself, it's been neutered. The launch has been drastically slowed down to the point where you're not even being whipped out of the first hill. Instead, you're just cruising through that top portion. Which, of course, personally speaking, I'm not a huge fan. I rode in 2016. That thing was hauling like butter. That thing was amazing. That was a world-class coaster. When you talk about riding a coaster like Voyage or Lightning Rod, those are world-class attractions. And people from 2016 who rode it in 2016, they always tell me Lightning Rod is the best coaster out there for the Woodside. However, if you ride it after 2016, after they neutered it, people constantly tell me, Brad, this coaster is not as good as Voyage. It feels neutered. It's because it is neutered. So what could be the issue on the trains? Well, really, we can talk about a few things here. Number one, maybe it's because of the weight. Again, they took off that back piece of the car. Maybe that was a part of the weight problem that it had. Maybe it was creating too much structural stress for the tracks themselves, or maybe for the launch itself. There's a lot of things when it comes down to the RMC cars. They're designed to be on a track with a lift hill, not a launch. So I understand that RMC probably did some modifications, probably did the work. And I'm not saying that RMC does a bad job. RMC is arguably one of the best manufacturers out there right now. I love their products. You can look at my top fives on both my steel and my wood. You'll find 2 RMCs each. Iron Rattler and Steel Vengeance, and then Lightning Rod and Goliath. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of Iron Gwazi because Iron Gwazi is opening up next year, and I was actually just talking to one of my friends about riding Iron Gwazi. So that's where that comes from. But when it comes down to it, these coaster cars are not designed to go up a lift hill. And I think that maybe the weight of the coaster car was maybe screwing around with the launch. Maybe it was, creating too much stress for the launch. I don't personally know. I don't think that it has too much of an issue when it comes to the track, which just kind of brings us to the next portion. A lot of people talk about there's a lot of structural stress on the track when it goes through that first drop. And to me, it's kind of like, yeah, sure, there is a little bit of a pothole, but I don't think it's too bad. And of course, maybe RMC's coming in and retracking and doing a little bit of upgrades. Maybe they're doing something with the track. Maybe they have a lighter coaster car. I don't know, but I think that RMC really has something, to work with here because I think that the track, of course, I think that if RMC is going to come on in and do a retrack, I think that's good. I don't think it's because, okay, let's back it up here for a second. This coaster was opened in 2016. So you're looking at 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. So 5th year of operation would be in 2021. And by that point, I think there should be some TLC done. Then that, of course, leads into some discussions. But at the same time, for those of you who are saying, well, that means that this coaster is a flawed attraction. No, it is not a flawed attraction. Even when it's running, it is amazing. It is beautiful. It is stunning. What I'm trying to get at here is that I would really like to go and see, what are they doing per se as track work. Because I think that if they're doing track work, then I think they're going to go on ahead, maybe I don't say reprofile, but rather retrack, maybe the first bottom, first drop, maybe that quadruple down. I think that would be a great place to go and retrack, because that's probably very, very intense for the coaster itself. But then, we move into this last bit about the launch itself. The launch, maybe it's not strong enough to pull the coaster cars. Maybe the system just is flawed. I don't know. I wouldn't think so. But, of course, this is RMC's first trick at, building a launched coaster. I would not go and flawed them or attack them just for doing that. They created a decent coaster. The issue is the fact that when you go and look at a coaster like Lightning Rod, there's a lot of downtime. There is a lot of downtime, and I think that RMC should do good by its name and keep this coaster up. Do I think that RMC purposefully goes and tries to make this into, a whopping failure? No. They're trying to make this into a success story. All right? So I think that with them saying lightning strikes twice, I think maybe what they're trying to say is that 2016 Lightning Rod is coming back. And I think that maybe quite possibly this launch system might be modified. Whether that be by putting a lighter coaster car, because that could put a lot of stress onto a launch system, right? It's like this. If you go and put, let's say you have a wire, right? So let's say that you have a metal wire and it's about the width of a dime. Then you have a metal wire the width of a quarter. Now, if you have a, like 2 motorbikes pulling it, it's not going to be as bad. But if you have 2 monster trucks pulling it, then you might have a little bit of an issue. Am I saying that RMC makes a flawed coaster? No. What I'm saying is that quite possibly maybe there was a miscalculation somewhere along the line to where a coaster car maybe was a little bit too heavy. I don't really know, because obviously the launch itself, which I'm guessing, again, this is all guesstimating. I don't know anything about the coaster itself. I don't know about, I know things about the coaster, but at the same time, I don't know what exactly is the problem that they have currently. I'm just giving you guys a hypothesis. This is a 100% speculative show. This is me spitballing. This is me putting on my tinfoil hat and seeing what sticks. Because maybe, quite possibly, one of these theories might work. I don't know. But with that being said, I do hope that this retrack, or whatever they're doing, I hope this works. I hope it's a success. Because in my opinion, this is one of those coasters that if you haven't ridden it yet, you are in for a religious experience if they get it back to where it was back in 2016. And I think they can get it back 2016 to Lightning Rod. I think that they should. Lightning Rod, RMC promised a coaster that was to fit Dollywood's expectations. Dollywood is an amazing theme park. I don't think it's due to their maintenance team. They do a successful, amazing job with Thunderhead. They do an amazing job with all the other coasters that they have. I don't think that it's Lightning Rod, anyone operating Lightning Rod. I don't think that it's Dollywood itself. I think that somewhere along the line there might have been an issue with either the development or maybe the installation. I don't personally know, but I think this is RMC saying, all right, this is enough. Let's fix this. And maybe, quite possibly, they add in a new lift system. And, I was having some discussions before about what kind of lifts they could add, and there's a lot of options. There are a lot of options for RMC to work with, and I think that if RMC were to get involved with another company, maybe to make a launch, I think that might be a good idea. I think that if they were to not to, and if they were to go and perfect it and actually make this a make it work program and make it something that's way more reliable, I think that will be a huge success story and a huge positive note for Rocky Mountain Construction to really say, hey, this is a coaster model, this is a coaster type that works, we've refined it, we've perfected it, we had our problems, we worked through it, and we created one of the best wooden coasters on face of the earth, if not the best wooden coaster on the earth, which I will argue to a T, always, because I rode Voyage at night, and it's pretty gosh darn close to Lightning Rod during the day in 2016. But that is another conversation for another day. So with that being said, guys, I hope you guys really enjoyed the show. Again, this is one of those few shows where I'm just going to talk for a little bit, hypothesize. There's a lot of things to go over with a lot of these parks. And I'm really looking forward to going into the future with you guys, talking about even more parks, even more theories, hypotheses. Before we get off here, though, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you guys who've been liking, subscribing, all of you guys who have been actively joining our communities. I just want to say a huge thank you. I really do appreciate it. I love it that you guys enjoy my content. Of course, you're going to see a lot more content like this come out. Of course, we produce on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Last Friday, we had a really great news segment, which for me is this Friday because I actually recorded this right after the foodie show. But, just for clarification, just after the first few shows, we've seen a lot of people come out, and probably more by the time this comes out. A lot of people getting involved, a lot of people getting connected. So I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's been involved, everyone who's getting, becoming a part of the Slides to Coasters organization as a community. And with that being said, stay tropical. We'll see you guys in the next one. We'll catch you guys on Friday. Peace out.